Hello out there. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Zachary Morse, Senior Manager of Global Engagement at Atlas Corps, and I'm here with a couple of special guests. We have Maria Mevechikova, who is alum of our Virtual Leadership Institute from last year, and then we have Jen Bookbinder, who's also here from the U.S. Embassy in Russia. So I'm going to bring them back together to speak about this initiative, but I'm very, very excited to be with all of you today. Today I'm going to tell you about Atlas Corps and our special initiative for emerging social impact professionals from Russia and the United States to participate in a virtual leadership development program. We'll take your questions at the end, so feel free to submit them in the comments section, and that is where we will look to see any comments that you may have at the end. Amazing. So for those of you who may be unfamiliar with what we do at Atlas Corps engages talented global professionals committed to social impact in leadership development programs. The classic program that we've been operating for over 15 years now is a 12 to 18-month professional fellowship, serving with the U.S. host organization either in person or online. In 2020, we launched a new program called the Virtual Leadership Institute to continue and deepen our engagement with global change makers even while travel is difficult. Atlas Corps believes in the power of helping rising leaders throughout the world connect across borders, whether online or in person. At the heart of the organization's mission is the belief that empowered, trained, and networked individuals are the most effective means to address critical social issues on local and global levels. And today we'll be talking about the Russian and American Virtual Leadership Institute initiative. The Virtual Leadership Institute is a global community that provides professional development to empower social change leaders. But specifically, this special Russian and American initiative is implemented with partial support from the U.S. Embassy in Moscow and aims to build stronger ties between American and Russian citizens. The initiative will connect emerging Russian and American professionals to promote increased understanding and collaboration during and after the program. Scholars will also participate in activities and guided dialogue on topics such as cross-cultural communication, diversity, equity, inclusion, and U.S. and Russia civil society. We are looking to gauge 60 Russian leaders and 30 American leaders in this institute, starting in April 2022. You'll be joining an online global community to empower yourself as leaders, and these leaders are known as Atlas Corps Scholars. The three key elements are our learning modules, our professional development electives, and a leadership project. Now, the goal of the Leadership Institute is to prepare scholars for leadership in their communities and to create empowered, trained, and networked individuals. And we believe that's the most effective means to address critical social issues on local and global levels. But specifically, scholars in this program will gain benefits like coming away with broader perspectives by being introduced to American and global values and the perspectives of peers from diverse backgrounds and life experiences through intercultural exchange, exercises in inclusive leadership, and self-reflection. And we're going to have our alum who's here today, Maria, talk more to that when we do a question and answer with her. Another benefit of this program is that you'll have the opportunity to connect with other leaders, especially in the U.S., whose influence, ideas, or support can contribute to your professional development as a leader. Okay, I'm going to welcome back Jen Bookbinder to the screen to talk a little bit about the Institute and give remarks from the Embassy. So welcome here today, Jen.
Thank you. Thanks. Hi, everybody. So my name is Jen Bookbinder, and I work at the Public Affairs section at U.S. Embassy Moscow, and I work on exchange programs. And exchange programs, I think, are like one of the most important things that we can do to connect the Russian people and the American people. And as Zach said, like the past couple years, travel has been hard, right? It's been hard to do real exchange programs. So I've been so excited to see these virtual opportunities come up that honestly make exchange programs much more accessible to people who wouldn't have been able to do this before, right? Maybe you have family commitments. You can't leave and travel to the US for 5 months or for a year. But because of these new virtual programs, you are able to get so many benefits while you're home with your family in your home community. So, thank you first for taking the time to watch this video to learn more about this program. It is an amazing professional development opportunity. So the Atlas Corps Russian American Virtual Leadership Opportunity is just a great chance for you to make connections, not just in your own country, but across these international borders between Russia and the United States. And I will say personally, like these last few years with COVID, it can feel really isolating, right? You're at home, you're doing your really important social work, and maybe you just feel like it's just me here and there's no one else, and how do I do this? How can I keep this up? So that's what this program can do for you, is just plug you in to this amazing community of other leaders who are doing similar work. So this isn't just like professional development for you, this is connections. This is connecting you to people who will help you learn about yourself, your own culture, other cultures, and really push you to get the most out of it and to come out like a better leader for your organization and your community. So, as I said, like I think these connections are vital, especially now with COVID, without being able to travel with world events. I truly believe in the power of connecting people together, and that's why I do this and why I'm so excited to be with Zach and Maria today to talk about the program. And I hope that many of you listening will take the time to fill out an application, because this program can change your life. All you need to do is fill out that application and take a chance. So I look forward to seeing your applications on the other side, and I will hand it back to Zach.
Thank you so much for your perspective in talking about the benefits. Perfect. Well, thanks again, Jen, for speaking today. Great. Well, now I'm going to talk more about what exactly will you be doing during your time in the Virtual Leadership Institute. So here's just a snapshot of the amazing community of Atlas Corps Fellows and Scholars you'll be joining through participation in the Virtual Leadership Institute. We're now a community of over 1,100 social change leaders from over 110 countries. Now, one important element that we have are modules. Our institute curriculum is based on the modules of developing self, developing others, and leading movements, with an orientation and a reflection on the end. And these modules enable you to explore a different aspect of your leadership development journey. Key elements of each module include keynote speakers, interactive workshops, self-led activities, peer coaching groups, and community building activities. Now, here are some of the electives that you can take that are within each module that I talked about before, of developing self, developing others, and leading movements. While some activities are required in the module, you'll also be able to customize your schedule by choosing different electives that you're interested in and that you appeal to you most. These are just an example of some of the activities within 3 of our modules. And you'll typically have about 3 to 4 weeks to complete each module. And within that period, you'll also be able to work through activities on your own schedule. You'll be able to engage with other scholars in online discussions about these activities and really learn about yourself through these 3 lenses of leadership. And we're going to have Maria talk more about her experience and her favorite activities during the Institute. Now, we also have the leadership project. So each scholar will design a leadership project. It can be an activity, a training, a session, a venture. And through the Community Impact Fund, we'll provide seed funding for participants to implement projects, and we'll select the most promising projects and fund up to $1,000 per project. Examples can include awareness campaign, training sessions, speaking engagement, youth engagement projects, and many other activities that promote understanding of the U.S.-Russia relationship, community impact, and really anything that motivates you and is tied to the goals of our initiative. You'll also have peer coaches who are other peers that are part of the Institute, and a group captain who will help you throughout the Institute and accompany you as you develop your leadership project. And what these look like are sessions every month throughout the time of the Institute to talk about the leadership project and from time to time about the curriculum of the Institute. And now I'm going to have Maria come back to the screen to talk about her experiences with the Virtual Leadership Institute. Hello, Maria.
Hey there. Hi. Hi, everybody.
Great to connect with you today. How are you doing?
All right. Thank you. Your presentation made me want to apply again for the VLI.
Perfect. Well, great to have you here today with us. So just going to ask you a couple questions to know about your experience with the Virtual Leadership Institute. So my first question for you is just to tell me about your background, what you currently do, and what attracted you to that field.
Sure. Currently, I work for the UNESCO Institute for Information Technology and Education. That's a long title, but basically what we do is we're trying to find the best ways to use technology for bringing health education. My unit focuses specifically on health education, how to bring health education, sexuality education, HIV education to young people in Eastern Europe and Central Asia. So for the last 2 years, I've been focusing on developing like neural net powered tools such as chatbots that would help young people access information about puberty, physiology, psychology, all those weird questions that they could ask discreetly to a chatbot and receive an expert consultation. So this is something I've been focusing on in the Atlas Corp VLI as well. What attracted me to this field, I guess there are several reasons, as usual. First is, I don't know what's the best way to say it, but I think it's like my drive for justice, because I feel like our health and our sexuality is something that absolutely everybody has to deal with at some point. All of us have questions at some point. And for example, I, as a teenager, I was fortunate enough to be able to talk openly to my parents, to my friends, to read books dedicated to sexual development and safe behaviors. And I have always had access to this information, to personal hygiene products, to safety. I never had to look for medical help by myself. And I realize how many young people do not have this privilege now. And I think the technology is something that can really help us even this out and make it a bit easier for the societies where talking about sexuality is not a habit yet, make it a bit easier for people to find answers to their questions.
That's amazing. Well, thanks for that overview, and really interesting to hear about your passion for technology. So why did you apply for the Virtual Leadership Institute?
First, because I believe in lifelong learning, and I'm actively seeking different development opportunities. But I should say that honestly, with VLI, I was impressed by first the diversity of people involved, because it was truly global. Really, I had the chance to have conversations with so many people from so many different countries that I wouldn't imagine like I would meet. But I didn't know that when I was applying, but still I felt that this is something that could really open some new doors for me. And secondly, in a practical way, I really like that it is an online opportunity to gain very specific skills, transferable skills that leaders in different areas can use successfully. And creating this kind of community of practice is something that I'm really passionate about, like-minded people being able to connect, being able to exchange ideas, being able to learn from each other, to coach each other. It's something amazing, I think. And this is why I had no doubt when I saw this opportunity.
Well, that's great. That's great to hear. Yeah, sounds like a perfect reason to want to become part of this initiative. Great. Well, I'd love if you could tell me some of your highlights of your participation in the Institute.
Well, I keep saying to different people that for me, the absolute highlights were our coaching calls, because it is this is what gives you this feeling of support and community, and this is where you get to know other people, and they might be from your country and they might be from many other countries, and you get to ask what you want to ask and hear honest answers. And as Jen said before, in the time of COVID, sometimes we can feel isolated. We feel that we're just alone there doing our thing and nobody cares. And when you see that so many people actually care, so many people from very remote places, they look at your ideas and they tell you, wow, this is cool, this is something needed. And when you can say the same to your peers, it feels amazing. And I loved many activities, but the coaching calls, I think, were the best part for me.
Awesome. Well, great to hear about your positive experience with the coaching calls. I mean, that's the best time to be able to interact, more closely with your peers. So I'm glad that you're able to hear cool ideas from others during that time. Great. Well, can you tell us about a VLI institute activity that you enjoyed participating in? Could be in one of the modules or your leadership project.
Well, my leadership project, of course, it's my favorite part because it's part of my my job, part of my work, and I'm very proud actually that I was able to finish it almost by the time of the program, and it feels so great to know you've accomplished something. And to be honest, again, like the program itself, the VLI, when you're in it, it doesn't feel like a huge load of work, but you can see how gradually, step by step, you're building on your result, and by the end you have something, you release something like that you've been working on, and it's amazing feeling. And going back to your question, I love many activities. I think the webinar on storytelling was super helpful in terms of like real practical use. It was something that I've used a lot since. Also, I think giving feedback exercise is something that I feel like many of us feel intuitively that we're good at it. But when you have this theory behind it and when you practice, it brings you to the absolutely new level in giving feedback and receiving feedback. And the third thing, I guess, I really love the Lost at Sea exercise. It's when different people are given the same scenario and they have to make a list of things that they would prioritize taking to survive in a crash, I think, as long as I remember, at sea. And it was amazing to see how different people really use different approach to solving the same problem, and how we could all work together and like defend our position, or like explain why we think something is important. And this is something that I remember very vividly, and I think it was a lot of fun, and it was also very helpful in the future.
That's really great. Yeah, I remember that exercise. A lot of fun and very interesting to hear how everyone responded to that differently. Amazing. Well, Maria, thank you so much for telling us about your experience with the Institute. I'm going to run through a couple more logistics, and then at the end, we'll see if there are any questions that come up for you.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Perfect. Well, now I just wanted to go into a little bit more detail of how you can apply and the process for that. So you can visit either usa.atlascore.org or russia.atlascore.org to find all of the details for applying and a lot of the information from today. And the great thing about those websites is there's also testimonials from other scholars, in addition to Maria's, which you've heard today, and stories featuring some of our alumni. So our priority deadline is February 15, 2022, and the program is from April to August 2022, and the implementation of the leadership project can still happen after August, but these are the most active dates of the Institute, where you'll be doing about and on average 3 to 5 hours per week of virtual activities. So there are some of our eligibility requirements, either being a U.S. permanent resident or citizen, or a Russian citizen, age 22 to 40. We just expanded our age to 40 years old or younger. You must have a bachelor's degree, 2 years of work experience, and English proficiency. And what we mean by English proficiency is being able to write in English. It doesn't have to be perfect, and then be able to understand and converse with other scholars in English. And then finally, having technology for video calls is important. A lot of them will take place on Zoom, and the group calls may take place on Zoom or Google Hangouts. So just making sure that you have technology that would be able to handle a video call. Great. Also, this program is best suited for rising leaders who seek structured professional development, have a passion for social impact, and have an interest in making international connections, either with US or Russian citizens. We believe that early to mid-career professionals with a background or interest in international affairs, diplomacy, and US-Russian relations will also benefit from participation in this program. Top candidates will be invited to join the Virtual Leadership Institute and will be enrolled in our online program once they are accepted. We use a platform called Canvas. Something else to mention about this initiative is to apply. Again, you'll go to those websites that are there. And the application is not too long. It has a couple of short answer questions, and it asks for a video. But don't worry, it's the video, really no pressure at all. Just, answering why you're interested in being part of this initiative, the US-Russia Virtual Leadership Initiative, and doing it on YouTube or using the application system. So we really, really do encourage you to apply. Just go ahead and take that step, as both Jen and Maria have emphasized. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring Maria back to the screen, and we'll see if there are any questions from the audience. So if you have any any questions, feel free to ask them, put them in the chat of YouTube or Facebook, and we are happy to answer them. So I do see one saying that they applied for the fellowship, I believe. So that is sort of a good topic to briefly mention here. If you're interested in our fellowship program, we currently do have that. You can apply year-round, and you would visit apply.atlascore.org on our website to apply for that fellowship program. And that is a different application than what is for the specific initiative, and it is a longer application that asks for employment history, professional skills, essay questions, and 2 references. So the process is a little bit different for that, and you could go to apply.atlascore.org. And yeah, again, if you have any questions, don't be afraid. Feel free to put that in the chat here. Meanwhile, Maria, I'd love to hear more about your leadership project.
Sure. I was just, I wanted to add that I'm really happy to see that you've extended the age up to 40 years, because I think that also gives more opportunities and more quality, like more equal chances to people who are not maybe as, weren't as quick to realize they were social leaders. About my leadership project, I just have one advice for everybody applying to this program and who's accepted. Like, don't let your leadership project slip out of your hands, because I've seen so many times, and it happened to me too, that sometimes it's just really hard to keep on track, and there is the structure, and it's best to follow it. And with my leadership project, I was lucky because it is also part of my job, so I couldn't just let it go. But still, there were things. There were some exercises, some reflection exercises that really helped me to look at my project from a different angle, and be more resilient, more confident, and really this program helped me personally and professionally to build this project. The project itself, it was also an interactive chatbot for Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan in local languages, because what we're trying to do, we're trying to create more educational tools in local languages to reach more people, more diverse groups, and
Oh, Maria, I think your mic.
oh, it went on mute, sorry. Yeah, where was I cut off?
Just the last sentence that you said.
Oh yeah, basically I was just saying that I've managed to launch the Kazakhstan chatbot, and I'm very proud of it. And it's growing in the number of consultation in both languages, and I think this is something that that the VLI really helped me with. So thank you.
Amazing. Do you know? Now there's a question from Medina. She, what are some of the most fascinating project participants accomplished during the program? I mean, I think yours is fascinating, being able to launch the that chatbot. That's really, really cool, and a great way to use tech for social impact. But is there sort of a peer that you can remember whose project you thought was very interesting?
Yes, there were so many actually. There was a girl in my group whose project was doing an assessment for choosing a place for the next several rehabilitation centers for people who are rehabilitating from cancer. So she worked for a nonprofit that was actually going to build those centers, but they needed someone to evaluate where in Russia they would be located, what is the best, the most effective place. And it was her project to actually do this research and look into different factors that would affect people coming to those centers. It's a huge amount of work, and she was like, there were some ups and downs, and I remember that sometimes she was really like burning out, but the other times she was like really, really motivated. And I think she managed to complete this project in time, and I was really impressed with how much effort she put in it, and how huge the impact actually is. Like, this is not just some words, it's actually huge rehabilitation centers that were going to be constructed in particular places thanks to her doing this work.
Wow, that's really awesome to hear. Thanks for sharing that. Very, very cool projects, both of you. I do see another question. Is it possible to attend calls events with a child, as I have a 5-month baby, and is he willing to join me? I would say it would be difficult to pay attention to both, your baby, and then also being able to listen to the professional development sessions. I would say for the bigger launch calls, you don't really have to participate that much. I mean, there are opportunities, but for the most part, it is. I mean, it depends on the workshop. There are some breakout rooms that do require more participation than others. So it could definitely be challenging to do both, but possible. Any what are your thoughts, Maria?
Yeah, I agree. The coaching calls, I think they are very interactive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just listening, it's you always have to like participate in some discussions or exercises, and it might be challenging to do with a baby. So but not impossible. Again, I would say try and see.
Great. And then what are some application tips that you have for applying, Maria, that you can share with our audience?
Well, I would say first apply early. Don't wait till the last day, because otherwise it's going to be much more stressful. And even though, as you said, the application isn't as big and detailed as the application for the internship, still there are some things to reflect on, several like texts you need to write, the video. And yeah, I would do it as early as possible. But I think it's a very common tip for every application. And secondly, I would say think about your leadership project properly from the start, because again, I've seen a lot of people changing their projects along the way because something they envisioned in the beginning was either too big or too small. So I would definitely allow some time to think about the project that is like the right amount of time and effort to complete in those months. And again, on the other side, if you feel like you want to change along the way, it's best to change early.
Yeah, I think those are great tips. And I think there is a question asking about the leadership project. And again, Maria chose something that she's doing also with her job, and it allowed her to look at that task from a different perspective, that goal from a different perspective, and get different resources. So again, that is a great way to go about it. What you put there can be changed, again, like Maria said, but I think what's most important is to demonstrate that you've thought about how you would use the Institute for a potential leadership project, even if you haven't quite nailed everything down yet. I'm going to go ahead and just end with a couple more application tips as we are approaching the end of our session. just going to share my screen very quick. Here are some of the ways to be successful with your application. Being specific and providing examples is very important. You know, you may be interested in having a positive social impact, benefiting your community, but we'd like to hear more about like the specifics around that, of what your social issue is, what you're passionate about. So be specific as possible. Again, highlight your experience in social impact. So if you are passionate about child rights, go into your experience of how you've engaged with that social issue. Practice before recording your video. Do it a couple times. It doesn't have to be a high stress thing. We're not looking for perfection. A lot of it is just to see see your interest in the Institute, and to ensure that you can, your English is, to evaluate that, and to ensure that you're able to understand and also speak and converse with others during the Institute. And checking over your spelling and grammar, make sure to do that. We have received a couple applications in Russian, so please don't do that, because we will be reviewing the applications in English, and we do not have the capacity to review them in Russian. So please submit your application in English, and write a strong bio. So the first essay question of the application is just a bio that talks about your professional experience. So be sure that you include your relevant accomplishments and work experience in that bio. So those are some of the tips for having a successful application. As long as you sort of follow these guidelines, I'm confident that you could be a great candidate for the Institute. Just really, we want to hear about how you can leverage this opportunity, getting to know other Russians and Americans for that social impact, and that interest in U.S. and Russia relations too could be another thing that you highlight. Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for attending today's session. Again, I'm so thankful for Maria and Jen's participation in this Institute, in this informational call today, and Maria for participating last year in the Institute. And I hope everyone has a great day, and remember to apply.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'm very happy to share my experience with everyone, and wishing everyone a good luck.
Amazing. Bye, everyone.